how much you doing college ball these days? I know you're big NFL guys commentating, right? Aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Big
commentating
time.
NFL games. You still do any college stuff? Because the first AP poll comes out, and obviously Texas is at number 1. Clemson rounds out the top 4 with 2 Big Ten teams sandwiched in there. Georgia, people forget about the dogs down there. They still do Bloody Tuesdays or whatever it is with Kirby Smart. And I believe Gunner could be a dog. I think we all believe in him. Marcus Freeman in Notre Dame going to be in the top 10 conversation every year. I think that's just how this is going to go until Marcus Freeman's no longer there. Oregon as well, same conversation. Alabama has more 5 stars next year than anybody else in the country except for Oregon, right? I believe it's Oregon. I think it's Oregon and Alabama had the most 5 stars. So feels like the Kalen DeBoer era with Grubb as the offensive coordinator. Now, remember, didn't have him last year. Could just continue Alabama's success, even though nobody's really expecting shit from the Crimson Tide down there. What are your thoughts, Dan, on how we kind of currently sit? And no West Virginia in the top 25 of either the AP or Greg McElroy. Kind of confusing.
Yeah, maybe they need bigger donors. I'm still all over college football. I'm still part of it weekly for us. That first weekend is going to be amazing. I think about it like, to your point, Clemson, I think some of the teams that I find like super interesting is LSU. One, have we heard anything about, maybe you guys know more, like I saw all over the internet last week of Nussmeier and he's injured, and I saw some reports. I was like, God, I hope that's not true. Is he healthy? Is he not? So I think Illinois is a team that like can throw everything.
We don't need an answer. Okay, you didn't want an actual answer. That's on us. That was a rhetorical question. We misread it. You're in a car.
What are we answering and asking questions now? What the hell?
Well, I don't know. That's on.
What
do you want to know or not? It sounded like you didn't want to know.
So Twitter was burning. Everyone was reporting that it was like a torn ACL, blah blah blah, and then actual reporters came out. Jacob Hester, I believe he was at practice or whatever, former LSU great, said, no, he's fine. Everything's fine. I believe he just bumped a knee with a defensive lineman. Might be like a knee bruise type situation. I believe I saw a report that he has a sleeve on it, but he's back at practice. So I think major injury avoided in that situation.
Okay. So I think they're interesting because Nussmeier for me is the best quarterback in America. Sellers is crazy talented, and he can play himself into that conversation. Klubnik, really good year. Can he do it again? I think they're more talented on the outside of Clemson than they've been in a couple years. But LSU, that game is going to be awesome. I think Illinois is a team that could just throw it all for a loop, just because the style of football that they play. Defensively, they're going to be outstanding. That's kind of become a calling part of them. But just the old school style of football that they play. Penn State, this is the best Penn State team James Franklin's ever had. Aller's another guy that I think there's a camp that sits there, and I'm in this camp that goes, man, if he gets it together and just continues his development, Penn State will be in the playoff, and he could become the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. And then there's a camp of Aller will never put it together. He's always just the big, tall, athletic dude that maybe doesn't become the complete quarterback. So I'm all about college football. Arch Manning, how good is he? That first weekend's going to be awesome.
I've heard some people that I have a lot of respect for say that they think Arch Manning probably 6th or 7th best quarterback in the SEC. We'll see how that goes. I don't think that's the case. There's a reason he's number 1 for Heisman odds, I think. And I think we all need to remember he got concussed last year.
Yes, he did.
Stood right back up, didn't let anybody know about it. Might have a celebrity last name, but I feel it. He's got blue-collar work ethic out there.
He's an all-bro player.
Yeah, he is. All-bro every time. All time. Especially whenever you have that name, people are going to buzz. Can't wait for college football to get back. Should be a fantastic start. Now, let's talk NFL ball. Feels like you did a lot of research and did a lot of judging. We had top 10s for everything. Top 10 for mechanics. Top 10 for ball placement. Top 10 for arm strength. Top 10 for great legs. Top 10 for all this stuff. You had top 10s across the board for ESPN.com. Massive respect for the amount of work you put in. Also, appreciate you feeling as if you could be the authority on this entirety thing.
There a lot of times the top 4 are kind of like any mix of Josh, Lamar, Joe, and Patrick. And then, I'm of the group that still think that there's 10 or 12 other just really, really good quarterbacks in the league right now. And so I put a list of 10, and then it's a conversation of hey, you don't have Justin Herbert in there. I'm like, man, Herbert should be in there. And then so it's okay, well, who could I take out? And then, man, you don't have Jared Goff in that one. Well, who could I take out? Or There's no Dak in there. So it's like there are moments when I try to give love to a guy that I think is probably worthy of being in that top 10, but it's like I can't take somebody else out. And so there is a little bit of like puzzle piece fitting because, trying to just be respectful of so many different guys. And it's
So we're playing politics.
Jeez.
Yeah, so we put Jared Goff in one of the top 10s.
Of course.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Detroit noticed, Dan. That thing wasn't out for more than maybe, 30 seconds on each one, 5, maybe 3.5 minutes. And Detroit was like, here we go again. Dan Orlovsky.
Dan, I was pissed off. One of the best offenses in the league last year, top 5 quarterback in the league last year. I mean, decision-making with the football, ball placement. There's so many things that Jared Goff does great.
Mechanics.
And you didn't even have him on there.
Did Aaron lose his mechanics?
His arm got chopped off, actually.
He's got
to throw with his left.
He started working with Artie Smith.
Yeah, he plays for Steelers and Artie, so he can't be
his
on a list.
mechanics might be bad. Yeah, I understand. Because they say, like, his form actually is, like,
teach tape.
The mechanics. Right in that word. Sorry, though. Sorry.
You knew it was coming, Dan.
We got a lot of
That's how
names.
you want your quarterback to throw.
We got to put in.
Ball placement.
Got a lot of good players. Let's talk about a great night, especially in Cleveland. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Dano, I'm actually around a lot of Cleveland Brown fans, and leading up to their first, the preseason game on Friday, a bunch of the fans told me, hey, this is our Super Bowl tonight. Shedeur is going to get a lot of time. Like, we want to see what he is able to do. I know you guys have gone over and over this. He played very well. I was very impressed, actually, by his presence, how he had a command of the huddle, his confidence on the field. But what do you make of this? And, like, how different is a defense in, say, the first or second preseason game, say, to the first or second regular season game? What kind of different looks will they give you as a quarterback?
Great question.
Yeah. So, going into these games, you guys obviously experienced it, and then hear a lot of people talk about how he handles it, how he operates, the pre-snap communication, post-snap execution. Does he look like he's, seeing everything clearly? And that is said because it matters. And that was one of the things that stood out was just how comfortable he looked in and out of the huddle. There's multiple times where, he's sticking his hand up at the line of scrimmage, talking to his receivers like, hey, you're good. Don't worry about any blitzes. Our protections are fine. So, when I watch that, it tells me like he's understanding what he's looking at. That matters. A big deal. I think the thing that one of the things that I took away was he was pretty aggressive with the football. That tells me confidence, that again, he's seeing how rotation happens. Now, he saw a lot of, backside safety drop down man coverage. So that you're not going to see, you'll see that in the league, obviously a ton. He didn't see a ton of pressures. He didn't see a ton of blitzes. Some of the stuff that some other quarterbacks saw, like Seattle was throwing Star Wars stuff at Geno Smith. So, he didn't see that, but I do think that you walk away going, man, the operation was clean. He looked comfortable. You saw athleticism. The decision-making was spot on. He had 2 or 3 drops even in the midst of the stat line. So, this play is awesome to me because it shows reaction. He remains a passer. He doesn't bail. He stays in that really good pocket of throwing presence. And then the throw, the ball placement, face mask or higher, belt buckle or lower down in the red zone. And this one's belt buckle or lower to protect that guy. So here's my thing. All reports in training camp have been overwhelmingly positive with Shedeur. Hey, another good day for Shedeur. Then he gets in the game. He plays really well. At some point, the Browns are going to have to sit there and go, we got to get him more reps against better competition with more of our higher-end talent. I've been in the camp, start one of the rookies. I think it's really hard to not walk in there this week and be like, let's get him reps versus the ones with the ones and see what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
It's time. Isn't it?
It is time.
Yeah.
Put your watch up, Dan, if you believe.
Dan, put it up.
Yes.
Apple Watch. Somebody send him a text. It'll pop up right there.
Those rings aren't even close to being closed.
Terrible. Yeah, you got to maybe do some more steps instead of driving around everywhere.
Go for a walk.
Be healthy. Dan, I like everything you're saying there. And we had an all bruh team. I don't know if you saw that.
Bruh.
Because it's bruh. Great work out there.
Bruh.
But also, bruh. It's preseason.
Bruh.
It's better than playing ass. I can't say that enough. These guys that play good and people just want to mock and ridicule them for its play. It's like, what are they supposed to do? Play like shit and then what? So I think we should celebrate it, but we do got to keep it in perspective that, bruh, Myles Garrett was standing on his sideline. Myles Garrett and Shedeur actually had a conversation after Shedeur's time. Great interaction. Miles and he seem to get along well, which is good play by Shedeur to win over Miles. And also Miles probably the same way. And Shedeur asked Miles if he thought his little spin shit could work on him that he was doing against the guys that were out there. And Miles was like, come on, man. Come on. Like, basically, relax. Yeah. And then I think they both said that was some shitty DN play out there. It was like, yeah, it's preseason football.
Yeah.
But once again, not Shedeur's fault. This is the only opportunity he's getting to play out there. Interesting situation for the Cleveland Browns. Maybe they're good.
Dan, let's stick in the same draft class as Shedeur. Why do you think that there has been next to no fanfare for Cam Ward still? That was kind of the talk of the draft. Like, hey, no one's talking about this guy. He's unbelievable. And I guess I really haven't seen much of him from neither training camp or, from his game this week. What are you hearing and what are you seeing from Cam Ward thus far?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I think there is a little bit of, there was so much attention on Shedeur in the draft process, and it was kind of like the foregone conclusion of Cam going 1. I would tell you, just watching the game the other night, I think that he settled in. Early on, you could just see sped up, but he settled in that second quarter and had some really good connections to Calvin Ridley. This is a great throw on the crossing route. I think the things that I liked watching week 1 preseason wise seemed like he had good eyes. He confirms that shallow crosses get carried by that or with that corner versus man coverage. That's a beautiful crossing throw. There's a ball over the middle of the field. This one that comes twitchy, drop down coverage. He sees the vacancy in the zone. Ball comes out. Now, those were some of his traits coming out of college that you liked. I think that the thing that I did see that's probably happened like 3 or 4 times in the game that you walk away with tape is we got to get him to play a little slower and have a little bit more structure within his feet. I think that he's one of those quarterbacks that, has the ability to make a lot of different throws when his feet aren't set. His body could be in unique positions because the arm is so talented, but he relied on that too much. There's a ball he almost throws for an interception that almost gets picked off, and his mechanics, his feet are all over the place, and he's parallel to the line of scrimmage. So that's why these snaps are meaningful for these guys. So I think that you walk away encouraged by some of the things that he did post-snap, while also sitting there and just harping on, hey, let's mechanically get more consistent. We don't have to fall back on throws. We don't even like this out route. It's completed, but it's not a perfect throw. And if you look at the throw, his feet are slipping all over the place. So I just think the more reps he'll get to be more comfortable is going to be better. Look at his feet here. He's falling away from that. You can see his upper body moving away. I want that ball to be just pulling that guy to the sideline.
I think he's a baller. That's right. I think he is a gamer. I think he's a baller. I think he's a dog. But I think with that, there comes a lot of things like attention to detail and the footwork for a lot of time for Cam probably hasn't been a must for him. Let's do other things. And also, I see that elbow moving a lot. It feels like that is a little bit of, I assume all this will develop as he continues in the league. Are most quarterbacks from year 1 to year 4? I know the Josh Allen story is a very real one. Cam's only going to get better, right? All the things, because his moxie, he walks into the University of Miami, everybody there says this is the guy. Mm-hmm. He walks into Nashville down there, Music City, and you hear Ridley he walks in the room and it's just we got a guy. Yeah. Everything else he can work on, right? That's how we feel?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, the character is off the charts. The person and the mindset is off the charts. And there's also a ton of physical talent there. So, you need to remember this guy, I don't know exactly what, the offensive style that he played in at Incarnate Word, but at Washington State, it was chuck and duck, man. So those offenses aren't necessarily teaching a ton about footwork and whatnot. And so then he goes to Miami and it's a little bit of the same stuff. And so go back to when Caleb was coming out of school 2 years ago. There's a little bit of that there, where it's he probably hasn't had to be hyper focused on footwork and, hitches and the balance of it all. And so that's going to come because everyone raves about this young man's footwork. Even that ball should be out a hitch and a half to 2 inches sooner. Calvin's running a crosser over the middle of the field. The protection's flawless. So get it, but that'll come. That's all going to come with reps.
Yeah, and people are going to hear what we're saying in saying his footwork and this is going to have to get better, and they're thinking to themselves, well, he's had a lot of success already. He's number 1 overall pick. It's like every position, once you get to the NFL, it's all about the details. It's all about the tiny little things. Like for me, punting, it was in my drop, like learning how to drop. I had to stand at my bed at night and just drop this thing like 1,000 times so that it would drop flat. It's like all the little tiny things they can continue to improve on. And everything said about Cam Ward is that he will. And I don't love that for the AFC South. Okay, I want to let that be known. We know Houston's got what they got.
Yep.
Sure.
Jacksonville's got a kicker that's hitting 70-yard field goal, snap, hold, kick, live.
Absurd.
Bruh, it's preseason. Bruh. That is so
Bruh.
far. That is so far. Legit.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
So far. That is unbelievable. Like, I saw that, and I'm like, my tweet was, this is legendary, just strictly because it is. Like, everybody dreams of an opportunity to get a 70-yard, like a kick. But to make it, like I had a 66-yarder, I think, in preseason, pulled it left. So bummed. Never going to get that shot again. But I make that kick, I feel very good about my life forever. Cam Little hits a 70-yard field goal. Who cares if it's preseason or not? I don't like the vibes down there.
Yeah, no extra steps, too. Like Tucker's 66 against the Lions in the game, technically, so maybe that was the difference. He had that extra step. Little was just 2 steps in a swing.
What a kick. And he's not a gigantic human.
No.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it. I honestly have, and I think he was perfect on extra points whenever he was at Arkansas, because normally if you have a big leg, every once in a while you get a little bit out of control. Seems to be, I don't want to say undersized, but he doesn't look like he is a gigantic human. Anyways, around the AFC South, everybody's really doing it. Here in Indy, I don't know if you've heard, Dan, we got good competition going. Boys are battling. What are your thoughts?
Was disappointed that Anthony had that play.
What play?
Whose fault was it?
What should happen?
This is on the quarterback.
Freaking right tackle.
This is on
right
the.
there.
No, I read from Connor, and I read from a lot of people on the internet that this was not on this entire. Can I speak from outsider who doesn't have the highest football IQ on earth, but been very lucky to be in a lot of rooms where it happened. So I think by osmosis, I've picked it up. This is something that if you were to play a lot of football, you would know, hey, this is the guy. And then this is potentially 30, 40-yard gain as opposed to dislocated pinky. That's certainly close. Yes. He's still on you.
Yes.
But that thing, he's still taking a hit, probably falling down, if I had to guess.
Yes.
But that is going to the running back and going, right? And that's just something that just naturally comes whenever that type of shit starts taking place. Am I reading it accurately?
Yeah, so let's nerd out a little bit here. So
let's do it.
This is it's 2nd and 10, okay? This is a relatively basic pass protection concept. It's only 5 people blocking, so the running back has no responsibility. The guard, the left tackle, left guard, and the center are responsible for the left defensive tackle, the left defensive end, the Mike linebacker, so the guy that is standing on in between the hashes, not him, him, they're responsible for him, and then the nickel defender, okay? The nickel.
Okay.
Go to the yep. So there's 4 guys there, right? You got the nickel, the defensive end, the defensive tackle, and the Mike linebacker. The center, left guard, and left tackle are responsible for 3 of those 4. Whatever 3. It doesn't matter what of the 3. If any 3 of that 4 come, they're protected. If 4 come on that side, that's on the quarterback, okay? And that's why when Anthony catches it, if you guys play it, Anthony catches it, Anthony just stares left because he's thinking the nickel might be a pressure guy. Because looking over your right shoulder, Pat, that safety's right there. Yep, that's called being capped off. So that a lot of times when that nickel is pressed and the safety right on the logo is over the top, you're like, okay, that nickel can be a pressure guy. So I can understand Anthony looking at that nickel guy and saying if he pressures, that could be a problem. The problem starts backside. Rewind it. Okay, so now right guard, right tackle. They're responsible for right defensive end, right defensive tackle, and that backside linebacker. Any 2 of those 3. Any 2. So if any 2 come, we're protected. If all 3 pressure, that's a problem. Now what happens is you teach your offensive tackle. If that linebacker triggers, he's closer to the quarterback than the defensive end.
Jeez.
MDM, most dangerous man, he's probably said.
Yeah, which is normally the inside guy.
Yep.
Yeah, closest, easiest pass to the QB.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
Yes. Most dangerous guy. That's called a squeeze. So that tackle's doing the right thing, and quarterback has to know. Then defensive end is unblocked. So the simple part of that is yes, that's on the quarterback. I do think it's just hard. The quarterback has to see both sides here, right? So the coaching point is really, Anthony, I don't want you to look left and I don't want you to look right. I need you to see down the field and feel the color on either side. Feel that. So while I understand Anthony's telling me, I know my left is a problem, he's also telling me I don't think my right is. And that's where, like, as a coach, you would have to sit there and go, I got to trust you to be able to handle this.
Yeah.
And my comparison
right?
has been this. Yeah. And know what every snap, there's a problem. Every snap, there is a problem. And you have to know the answer to that problem. Every single snap. And my comp has been this, guys. AFC Championship game last year. The last play of the game when Josh Allen's running for his life and ball flutters in the air and whatnot. That's a Star Wars problem. Like that, if you get that, you're Drew Brees. You're like, that's all world stuff. This one, if you're going to start in the NFL and it's 2nd and 10, you gotta be able to know what that problem is and what the answer is.
Something you never do is go back and kind of take a victory lap for your takes. So I just want to say, Jackson Dart was one of your guys, and he came out spinning the pill the other day. What'd you see out of him? And do you think that Russell is going to get a lot of time? Do you think it's going to be, first sign of any doubts that Jackson Dart might get put in because of how well he's playing? Or what should our expectations be for the Giants with their quarterback situation?
Yeah, I wouldn't rush Jackson Dart on the field. I think Russell Wilson's the starter and hopefully has some success. I think the best thing for the team and for Jackson Dart is that Brian Daboll's his coach for the foreseeable future, and that happens if they're capable of winning and being competitive this year. I thought Dart looked really good as well. I think the things that you liked were, he made some, I guess, different kinds of throws that weren't demanded of him at LSU, some timing routes on the outside to the perimeter, balls across the middle of the field that weren't just necessarily crossers. I love that. I thought he was really strong in the pocket. That's one of his calling cards. I thought out of all the kids in the class this year, I thought he was best in the pocket, just the strength and the climbing of the pocket while remaining a passer. You saw the athleticism. The touchdown pass to Lil Jordan Humphrey is actually an audible at the line of scrimmage. So again, just verification, recognition, aggression. I think the two things that stood out to me as far as what you want to see him grow at, and this is why I wouldn't rush him on the field, or part of the reason why, he has a 3rd down where he throws the ball to Dulcich, the backside tight end, and he misses it. And everyone might sit there and go, oh, inaccurate throw. And I look at it as he's just playing too fast. He's got a corner route at the bottom, and it's 3rd and 3, I think, of his first or second drive, and he's ready to throw the corner route, and the receiver's 4 or 5 yards down the field versus man coverage. And so it's just the repetition and the growth and the experience of slow yourself down feet-wise, because your feet tell you when to throw the football more often than not. Again, a shotgun quarterback, an RPO-centric quarterback that maybe wasn't worked on the timing element of the pass game. So that's going to take time. And then the second time was when he runs for a 1-yard gain, not that big long run, but he scrambles for a 1-yard gain. It's a play action pass. He's got the chance to throw the crosser, and the underneath defender kind of tries to bait him, and he decides not to throw it. And I'm like, good decision. But then throw it to the running back in the flat instead of becoming a runner. And so hey, why did you not throw the ball to the back? So I just think, more experience having that, but I would be as encouraged as I was with Shedeur. I would be equally as encouraged as I would be for Jackson Dart.
And Caleb Williams?
Didn't play. I was disappointed that he didn't play. I understand not playing him without the starting offensive line. I would love somebody to ask Ben Johnson, why did the starting offensive line not play? And then subsequently Caleb get reps. I think he needs reps in this offense. So I'm okay with him not playing without the starting offensive line.
But why is the offensive line playing then? Well, they paid a bunch of guys. Don't want to get them hurt early. Okay, and also a lot of vets.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would understand that if you tell me. I would understand that. Those 3 guys internally are vets, but I don't know the answer to the why they didn't play.
You're the man. Enjoy yourself. Thank you for talking to us during your travels. Thank you for taking it on the shins from the rest of the world and putting out these lists that we can react to.